Good morning to all. Greetings of the day. Today we are going to be discussing about the fourth module of our file structures. The name of the module is Indexed Sequential Access and Simple Prefix B plus tree. So today I am going to be discussing about Indexed Sequential Access. Yeah. So what is this indexed sequential access? We have already studied in the previous models what is an index. So we are having our whole data record. It is impossible to search for a particular record in the whole data file. So for that whole data file, we will create an index which will contain information about the unique key present for each record and its associated address. So instead of searching our whole data record, whole data file for a particular record, we can search the index file and it is easier to sort and find out where the record is present in our data file. So that is nothing but indexed. Sequential access means we already know what is the meaning of sequential access, searching the records one after the other in a sequential manner. So here today we are going to combine both of these file structures, index as well as sequence, to create a new file structure, that is indexed sequential access. Now you can see here, for a file of n records, following the n pointers from the index into the entry sequenced set. That means if you are having n records, so for each record, you are going to have n index, right? For each record, you are going to have its own index. That means it's going to have its own key and associated address. So if you want to search for a particular record, you need to access each and every record. You need to find out where the record is exactly present. We need to search through all the records present in our data file to find out where our record is present. So this is much less efficient than the sequential reading. It is less efficient than just a sequential reading. So we are going to see for the next structure that is available in order to increase the efficiency. What is the next structure? The next structure is called as sequence set. So what is a sequence set? We will first focus on the problem on keeping a set of records in a physical order by key as records are added and deleted. So we have to first focus on the problem to keep our records in an arranged order, in whichever order the keys are added and deleted. In the same way, we have to maintain the records. For that, we have to first focus on the solution. So we refer to this ordered set of records as a sequence set. I hope you understood what is the meaning of a sequence set. It is the set of records which are maintained in the same order in whichever order they are being added, or in whichever order they are being deleted. So once we have a good way of maintaining a sequence set, then we will find out how to add an index to this sequence set. So first we will concentrate on maintaining this sequence set. So I hope the concept of a sequence set is clear. So what is a sequence set? The records, maintaining the records in the same order, whichever they are added and deleted. So that ordered records is called as a sequence set. Now, in order to maintain this sequence set, we are going to use the concept of blocks. What is the meaning of blocks? Grouping of the records into a set is called as blocks. So you can see here, one of the best way to restrict the effect of insertion and deletion to just a part of the sequence set. So what is a sequence set? Collection of all the records, right? So whenever a record is added or deleted, the structure of whole sequence set is going to change. Now, in order to restrict the changes, we don't want the entire sequence set structure to be affected. So in order to reduce the effect on the entire structure, we have used the concept called as blocks. What is blocks? It involves collecting the records into blocks, grouping them into a small structure, that is called as block. Now, when you have formed these blocks, blocks will be the smallest unit or the basic unit for input and output. What is the meaning of that? When you are going to read a block of data, you're going to write a block of data. Block of data means the group of records which you have grouped into one set. So when you have used the concept of blocks, blocks will be formed as the basic unit for input and output. So you can see here, when we block the records, the block becomes basic unit for input and output. We read and write entire block at once. Now I told you the concept of blocks, right? I have also told you the concept of sequence set. Sequence set means combination of all the records in the same order, whichever they are added and deleted. Grouping of records into a structure is called as a block. We have seen what is a block. Now we are seeing how a block actually appears. So you can see here, block number 1, there are some records present inside this block, right? These are the records that are present inside this block. Now, once we are having a limitation on the records that can be present inside a block. Here, the records that can be present inside a block is only four records per block. You can see here there is another block, that is block number 2. Here there are some 4 records. In block number 3, there are only 2 records. Here what we are going to study is about block splitting and merging. When do we have to split the block? When addition of a record into the block causes overflow condition, we need to split the block. When does block merging happen? Whenever we are deleting a record from the block, causing an underflow condition in your block to occur, we need to merge the blocks. So we will see all the condition. It is diagrammatically represented here. So if you can see here, I'm trying to add a record of name Carter into the block, right? So before adding, we need to find out where we can add the record. We can't add the record wherever we want, because all the records are ordered in an ascending order. So finding out the suitable position, I find that the record Carter can be added into block number 2. Now what will happen if I add the record Carter into block number 2? There are already 4 records. So the 5th record, if you're adding, it is causing overflow condition. So if overflow condition is caused, what are you supposed to do? We are supposed to split the block. So when you have to split the block, we will split it into half. That means if 4 records are present, split 2 and 2. So now 2 records will be present in block 2. Create a new block. We will name that block as block 4, and these 2 records are transferred to block 4. Now the name Carter is added to block 2. Now what you should observe here is the linking. All the blocks are linked to each other. So see the linking. Block 1 is linked to block 2. Block 2 is linked to block 4, not block 3. Here it is linked to block 3. But now we have split block 2 into another block called as 4. So we have linked block 2 and block 4. After block 4, the block 4 is linked to block 3. This is called as block splitting. When does block splitting occur? When there is an overflow condition. When we are adding a particular record into your block and it is causing an overflow, we need to do the block splitting. The next one is block merging. So what did I tell about block merging? Whenever you are deleting a record from your block, causing an underflow condition, we need to merge the consecutive blocks. So here, let us assume we are deleting the record called as Davis. Davis is present in which block? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, we are deleting the record called as Davis. Davis is present in which block? It is present in block number 4. So block number 4, if I'm deleting this Davis, what will be the only record left out? It is coal. It is causing an underflow condition to occur because minimum at least 2 records has to be present in a block, right? So it is causing an underflow condition. So now we are going to merge the 2 consecutive blocks. Which block are you going to merge? Block number 4 and block number 3. Okay, we can't merge block number 2 and 4 because it will again cause overflow condition to occur. So I'll merge block number 3 and block number 4. If Davis is deleted, arrange, see here, coal, this Deniver and Ellis is added to block number 4. Now block number 3 is empty. It can be used for any other purpose, available for reuse. This is called as block merging. Okay, block splitting occurs when there is an overflow condition. Block merging occurs when there is an underflow condition. So I hope this concept of block splitting and merging is clear. Now what is the next topic? Choice of block size. So here our block size is 4 records per block. How do we select this choice? They are not telling you what is the exact size of the block you're supposed to have, but they're telling you while selecting the block size, what is the consideration that you need to take into account. So there are two considerations. The first one is the block size should be such that we can hold severe blocks in memory at once. So we should be able to hold many or multiple blocks in the memory, because every time we want a record, we can't be moving into our secondary storage to fetch the data. So we should fix the block size such that we should be able to store more number of blocks inside our memory. The second consideration is reading in or writing out a block should not take very long. When will this happen? When you are having multiple blocks. Yes, you should have sufficient blocks to keep it in the main memory, but you should not have many blocks, which will make reading in and writing out process very slow. If there are multiple blocks, reading in so many blocks and writing out so many blocks will become very time consuming. So you have to consider these two things while you are fixing the block size. Again, the block size is the choice given to the user, but while fixing the block size, you have to consider these 2 points. Next, the next topic is adding a simple index to the sequence set. We have seen what is a sequence set and how to maintain it. We have maintained it using block structure. Now we are seeing how to add an index to the sequence set. How do we add an index? We will see here. Let's see whether we can find an efficient way to locate some specific block containing a particular record. So in order to find a particular record, find a particular block, we need an index. So how do we, what can we store inside an index? Obviously, we know that you should have a key. Associated with that key, you should have an address. So what is that key? We will find out here. See this diagram. So in block number 1, the lowest name and the highest name are shown here. What is the lowest name? Adams, and the highest name is Byrne. Between this, you can have any number of names you want. This index is just showing you the range of names that can be stored in block number 1. So in block number 2, the range of names that can be stored is Bolen and Cage. So where do I store the record box? If I have to add a record called as box, in which block do I store? Obviously in block number 2, because the range is from Bolen to Cage. So obviously to add a record called as box, I have to consider this particular block. So each block is having the range of names that can be stored. So you can see here sequence of blocks showing the range of keys, what is stored inside the blocks. It is not the actual data. Don't understand that in this block only 2 names are stored. It is only showing you the range of names. You can have any names falling between this range. So how do we add an index to this blocks is what we're going to see. So here to add an index, what is the highest most name in this block number 1? Byrne, correct? It is present in which block? Block number 1. Then in the block number 2, who is the highest most name? Cage. It is present in which block? 2. So this is how you are going to create the index. This is a simple index for the sequence set, the sequence set. How have you created the index? The largest number and the largest name and the associated block number. The largest name associated with the block number. What is the largest name? Dutton. The associated block number is 3, and so on. We are having 6 blocks associated with the keys. So this is how we create an index for the sequence set. Now the index that you have created has a problem. What is the problem? This names itself is the problem. Why is it a problem? If the names are too large, then the index set is going to grow in size, right? As the names are going to grow in size, even the index set is also growing in size. So now the next topic is going to throw light on what can you store inside the index instead of names. Okay, so our next topic is, yes, so you can see this is the index set. How are we adding a better index is what we are what is the next topic that we are going to discuss. So here, if you can see the topic, content of the index separator instead of keys. We are not going to have keys in our index. So here index was shown as keys, right? I told you what was the problem in this index. What was the problem? As the names are growing in size, the index set size also will grow. If the index size set grows, then what is the problem that is occurring? We will not be able to save it inside our main memory. So the size will be too large. Now we need to reduce the size of the index set. So for that, content of the index separator instead of keys. We are not going to have keys. We are not going to have names in the index. We are going to have the separator. Now, how do you find out the separator? Can can you see this index set sequence set here? So previously, how did you form the index? We saw which is the largest key and we formed the index. But here we are going to find out the separator. How do you find out the separator? Compare the largest name in the block 1 with the smallest name in the block 2. Which is the largest name? This one. The smallest name is this Bolan. Compare the first characters. Are they same? Yes. So we can't have B as a separator. Compare the second character, E and O. Yes, they are different. So we can have two characters as a separator. Choose the first two characters from block number 2. What are the two characters? BO. So between block number 1 and block number 2, we are having BO as the separator. Okay. Next, between block number 2 and block number 3, compare the largest number of block number 2 with the smallest member of block number 3. What is the first character? CA. Can it be the separator? No, because they're identical. See the second character A. Can it be the separator? No, because again they're identical. Compare the third character G and M. Can it be the separator? Yes. So we are going to take the first three characters from block number 3 as the separator. Can you see here? It is made as the separator. Between block number 3 and block number 4, follow the same procedure. Compare the highest member of block number 3 with the lowest member of block number 4. Here, can you see the first character itself is different. So we can have that character as the separator. So the same way we are going to find out the separator between each blocks, and this separator is now going to be added in our index set instead of keys. So other thing what you have to notice here is between the block 1 and block 2 you can have any number of separators, but you have to choose a separator such that it should be smallest in size. Now if you can see between block 3 and block 4, you can have any number of separator, any number of separators. These are all the separators between block number 3 and block number 4. But between all these separators, who is the smallest most separator? E. So our final aim is to reduce the amount of memory occupied by our index set. So for that you are going to choose the smallest separator, which is going to be E. So this is what the separator that we have chosen. Now this is our index set. You understood how to form the separators as our index instead of keys. The next thing is, what is the relation of search key and the separator? How is this separator helping in searching process? That is what we are going to learn. The relation between the search key and the separator. Now let us say we are searching for a particular record. That record is stored in the key. If the key is less than the separator, then what is the decision you are going to make? Go left. What does it mean if the key is less than separator? The key that you are searching is present in the leftmost, that is in the previous most records. If the key is equal to separator, if it is equals to separator, go right. That means it is present in the immediate rightmost block, immediate next block of that separator. If the key is greater than the separator, that means you have to go, the decision that you should make is go right. That means in the next blocks, in the consecutive next blocks, that particular key, whatever you are searching, is present. This is the relation of search key and the separator. So we have seen how this index is helping us to search for a particular record and how it is increasing the efficiency. So what was our aim? To improve the efficiency of searching. So we have seen how the efficiency can be improved by using a sequence set, and how to add a sequence, how to add an index to that particular sequence set. Even while adding an index, we have seen how to better form a key. Instead of the first technique we adapted was to add the names inside the index. But I told you the disadvantage is names grow in size. So we have seen the next technique. What was the next technique we saw was how to add a separator instead of keys. And this particular table, the relation tells you how the separator is helping us to find out where the key is present. So we were just going to compare the separator and see whether the key is present in the left, that is in the previous records, or whether it is present in the immediate next record, or whether it is present in the consecutive records. So this is the end of your indexed sequential access. In the upcoming discussions, we will be discussing about the next chapter, that is your simple prefix B plus trees. Thank you all.